Because on a weekend where the London Diamond League was bound to dominate the headlines, specifically because of the men's 100, and trust me, I'll get to that in another video. But Jamaica pulled up to run a relay, and they really didn't have much choice in the matter, because if they had any prayer of showing up at the World Championships to run the 4x1, they needed a seed time, like one that would actually qualify them. Allow me to set the stage. Kishane Thompson and Jamaica, they went to the World Relays early this year, and when they went, it didn't go all that well. They actually never got to stick around, and they had 2 cracks at it. There was a preliminary and like a consolation round when that didn't go well. Either way, Kishane Thompson literally never touched the stick, like it never got to the anchor. That said, this time, they went out there and took care of business. The time was 37.80 seconds in a race that I'm going to consider a dual meet. No disrespect to the other teams in the field, but it was Jamaica as far as the men they put out there, because they gave us Oblique Seville and Kishane Thompson. Like, when you put both of them on a relay, looks like you're actually trying to win out there. And Great Britain gave us a roster that was at least a decent reflection of what they gave you in the Olympic final last year that came back with a medal. But now that Jamaica has done this, they put down a time, like got around the track, because we knew they were fast, don't get me wrong. We just didn't know if they were actually going to get around the track and do it in time to qualify for the Worlds. We can just assume, or at least I'm going to go out on a limb here and assume that they'll make it to the starting line now for the World Championship 4x1. So what can we reasonably expect? So let's get into it. The first thing that comes to my mind is I wanted to get a better understanding of the legitimate history of the men's 4x1 in Jamaica in the post-Usain Bolt era. Because in 2017, he was coming down a home straight and pulled up in a 4x1. And as a result, Jamaica didn't get a medal. Like, they were gonna get a medal with him there, like almost regardless. From that point till now, in 2019, they didn't get a medal. In 2021, at the Olympics, they didn't get a medal. In 2022, they didn't get a medal. But in 2023, they did get one, and that one was a bronze. In 2024, they actually did get to stick around competently, or at least competently enough, in the Olympic prelims. They just didn't go fast enough to actually make the final, which, when you're Jamaica, with the type of speed they have, it's clear that something's going wrong in those baton passes if they're not getting around fast enough to qualify for the final. And the time that they just gave us here, considering what we've seen at World Relays, as well as what we saw at the Olympics last year, like past history tells us, that race is good enough to get you to the final. Now, will 37.80 seconds win the final? No, not going to happen. It might threaten for a medal, but then again, it might not. You kind of need a slower year now. Because generally speaking, 37.5 seconds is the line. Like, that's how fast you got to go if you really want to get a gold medal. Canada has taught us that. There's only a few nations who can go faster than that, like on talent. And we all know that the Americans are the team that comes to the mind, like at least at the top of mind, about who can go faster. But when I look at Jamaica's men's 4x1, what I see are some of the same problems that America has, where you have a whole bunch of talent that's relatively competitive, like in the same range on the boards. And as a result, when it comes to putting together a relay, you got to make a decision on who's actually going to go out there. When you have your final, everybody kind of knows who you want to see in the final. But the real concern is, are the same people who are going to be in the final going to show up in the round that get you there? Because the 4x1 is the type of race where you really got to run it multiple times, specifically with the same guys. That's why Canada is so good at it. Because even though they don't have all the world's fastest men, they have men who are fast enough who continue to run together over and over and over again. I can't remember almost ever. I mean, like, if you go back to the one medal that they didn't get, which was like 2023, like in recent memory, they didn't run their real team. Like, not the 4 men that they consistently run. You swap out Andre de Grasse, well, that's probably not going to go anywhere near as well as one would expect. But if you're new here, I want to say thank you for even making it this far into the video. And I'm Coach Rob, and if you really want to know what's going on with the fastest athletes in the world, then you are in the right place. And if anything that I say actually connects with you, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe. But if I don't, just let me know in the comment section, because I try to read them all. The race we just saw for Jamaica, 2 of those legs, I'm not entirely sure if we're going to see those same legs again when we come back to the Worlds. America, we don't know who we're going to see run on that relay. I mean, USA trials is about to come. They're going to put people in a relay pool. As far as I know, the system hasn't changed much. And we've also, changed up relay coaches, I believe, between the men's and the women's sides. I mean, for what it's worth, the men weren't doing well already, especially when it came to the Olympic Games. Worlds were a step up. But now let's go back to when I say not doing well, because getting a medal is ultimately what people want. And then, of course, there's records on the table. But when you have Kishane Thompson running on a 4x1, you have to put in perspective what that really means for that relay. Because Jamaica, when they weren't getting medals in the post-Usain Bolt era, like all those years where I said they weren't getting one, for the most part, they were getting to the final. And they were threatening for a medal. Like, they were getting fourth. But they didn't have what I would call a game breaker. That athlete who, when you get the stick to him, you're just like, you know what? Mail it in. This race is over. Because now that he has the stick and he's running, ain't nobody coming back from that. If Kishane Thompson runs the way we know he's capable of, all Jamaica has to do is get him the stick close to the lead. At which point, you can mail it in. We know you're coming back with a medal. But what Jamaica really wants isn't a bronze again. They want a gold medal. Like, they'll accept silver because it's a step up, but I'm pretty sure that they want a gold. Kishane Thompson can help them get there. But just adding him into the relay alone isn't going to be enough. Because at World Relays, the man who was supposed to hand the stick to him was not running the relay in London. Now, I get why they swapped that out, and I get why they're working on it. But the question again is, the team that we just saw, are they going to continue running together? That's a team without Akeem Blake, for example. A team without Brian Lavelle. Like, that's what they gave us. Is that same team going to come back in a World Championship prelim? Is Jamaica going to run another 4x1 between now and then? I have no idea. The London Diamond League, historically, as far as I can tell, this 4x1 has been a kind of a staple of this meet. It may not be a part of the official Diamond League program, but they run it and people take it seriously enough. I look at that race, like I remember Great Britain at the Olympics, the fact that they ran this relay prior to the Olympics, to me, that was a pretty good indication that they were not just taking it seriously, but not just throwing people together. Because you have athletes who were, like Louis Hinchliffe, who was a college athlete, but ran on the Great Britain relay that got a medal. But he didn't just pop up and run it at the Worlds, or in this case, the Olympics. He had to run it with the team prior. I think that continuity, like the way that you put together your program, is very key. You can almost run into a challenge when you have too much talent. Because, again, you don't need Kishane Thompson on talent to qualify for the final in theory. But irrelevant of whether you're fast enough to do it without him, you might not be good enough to do it without him. Because if the synergy of the team that he's on is the one you're expecting to win, you can fall off pretty quickly. America is the biggest, example that we've had of 4x1 failure, and I hate to keep going back to it, but let's just be honest, they have way too much talent for the results they've been getting. When they go out in the 2020 Olympics and don't make the final on speed, and you got 4 men who can break 10 seconds in the 100, like literally nobody in the field, like nobody else in the field was that fast, and they still didn't get to stick around competently. I mean, again, they ran, they got through the line, but they were so conservative trying to not drop that as a result, they just weren't fast enough. So at some point, you're going to have to be able to push the zones. In this 4x1 I was watching, the baton passes weren't perfect. Especially that anchor leg. I mean, on the way to Kishane, like they pushed the zones probably harder than they expected to. But he got the stick cleanly enough. Like, hey, before they got to the end of that zone, and once he got it and he was ahead of everybody, it was over. What's important is that they were ahead before they got to Kishane Thompson. That tells me that Jamaica means business. So they took care of what they needed to in London. Kishane Thompson, people wanted to see him in the 100, hey, myself included, but I totally understand why he's not running it in London. Like, this 4x1 was a business trip. It wasn't just a run for fun. They actually needed to get around, and they needed to do it quickly. Because if they didn't, they were going to be watching the World Championship relay go off without them. And now that they are in the field, as far as I know, we're going to have to stay tuned to see what actually happens. History tells us Jamaica's going to make the final. Like, they should make the final. If they, barring something catastrophic. The only question is, do they come back with a medal once they're there? And the only team that I know has enough speed to stop them from getting to the top of the podium. I have no idea who's really going to be on that relay when that final goes off. But unfortunately, I'm not entirely sure what the answer is for Jamaica just yet, because as far as I'm concerned, this year for Jamaica in the relay is gold medal or a bust, and that's that. In the sport of track and field, confidence is everything, because when you win, that is just the moment when everybody else finds out what you already knew to be true, that fast is a lifestyle. Get your Fast is a Lifestyle track and field gear at scarecruiting.com/shop or use the link in the description below. It's a huge support to me and this channel, so I can continue to make you more content like this. And remember, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe.